and Election Commission files their reply, again, both the camps will be facing Supreme Court arguments from 2 weeks from now, and also the current assembly session, which will begin in 1 week's time. We are going to slip into a short break at this point of time, and India Today. The news and updates will go on the other side of the break as well.
You are watching India Today.
All successful people worked hard, nothing comes easily.
Sometimes you need to just cross that mental barrier.
Once I come in,
काफी प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड
stark difference.
मैं जब दोनों मेडल को ले रहा था और मैं बोल रहा था कि दो ही हमारे पास मेडल है इंडिया में और दोनों आज मेरे हाथ में है.
The very fact that you're opening the India Today conclave with a session on Olympic sport tells me that we've made progress.
Sony has packed a blast from the past with the launch of its new Walkman. That's right, the cool audio device is back from the 90s straight into 2023. Who would have even thought about this? For people growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, the Walkman was the coolest gadget to carry. The swag of having it in the back pocket of your jeans and going about your day hit differently. But this was pre-smartphone or even iPod era. So why bring it now? What changes now? And most importantly, is it worth your money now? We are living in the times of Spotify and Apple Music. Well, Sony's new Walkman comes with a few upgrades but retains the nostalgic feeling of it with classic black and gold variant. But there are a few upgrades as well. The new Walkman comes with a 5-inch display, sound processing with high-res audio wireless and a battery life of up to 25 hours and more. It comes with Edge AI and DSEE Ultimate that offers premium audio experience. It also packs the S-Master HX digital amp technology that ensures reduced distortion and noise. It also comes with support for multiple audio codecs, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 5.0 connectivity that makes streaming music easier. And especially for music lovers, the device packs in a 10-band equalizer that allows a user to tweak the bass, the treble and everything in between to get the sound to their heart's desire. While the smaller gadget with the might of a sound engineering board may fit into your pocket literally, but it may pinch as well as it's priced at almost 70,000 rupees. Well, that is definitely almost the price of an iPhone, but that may be okay for a music lover and especially for the love of nostalgia. What do you think about it?
Pakistan, a nation which sponsors terror attacks against India, is shown its place. Lyricist Javed Akhtar names and shames Islamabad for harboring terrorists.
हम तो बंबई के लोग हैं, हमने देखा हमारे शहर पे कैसे हमला हुआ था, तो वो लोग नॉर्वे से तो नहीं आए थे, ना इजिप्ट से आए थे, वो लोग अभी भी आपके मुल्क में घूम रहे हैं। यहाँ में तकल्लुफ से काम नहीं होगा।
Exposing Pakistan on its soil, Javed Akhtar said that the anger of Indians against their neighbours was justified. The legendary poet also said that while India celebrated Pakistani greats like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Pakistan never invited Lata Mangeshkar.
हमने तो नुसरत के बड़े-बड़े फंक्शन किए, मेहदी हसन के बड़े-बड़े फंक्शन किए, आपके मुल्क में तो लता मंगेशकर का कोई फंक्शन नहीं।
Akhtar was responding to question at the Fairs festival in Lahore. A person in the audience had asked Akhtar to take with him message of peace and to tell Indians that Pakistan was a positive, friendly and loving country. Akhtar's comment has drawn major appreciation on social media from many, including Pakistani artists like Ali Zafar. Actor Kangna Ranaut, who had lashed out at Akhtar several times in the past, heaped praises on the lyricist for speaking out against Pakistan.
उन्हें जो कहना होता है वो कभी चूकते नहीं हैं। कैसा भी माहौल हो, कैसी भी जगह हो, तो बिल्कुल निडर होके वो बात करते हैं और जो उन्होंने महसूस किया वो उन्हीं की सरजमीन पर कह दिया उन्होंने।
Somebody like him could go and speak what he spoke and could tell people to their face that this is how we behave. Whatever he said was appreciated by a large number of crowd, by thunderous applause.
Javed Akhtar, often trolled in India by the right wing for being a peacenik, is now being hailed for schooling Pakistan over terror, and that too in Lahore. Some are even calling it a surgical strike on Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today.
LIC हर पल आपके साथ। बूडा जीन्स कंपनी, प्लैनेट इजी।
Rahul Gandhi tension.
Ladakh standoff, big political flashpoint. Congress trains guns on S. Jaishankar.
जो हो रहा है उसको समझना चाहिए। उनकी बयानबाजी आती रहती है।
Day after Foreign Affairs Minister taunted Rahul.
If we were being accommodative, who sent the Indian army to the LAC? Rahul Gandhi didn't send it. Narendra Modi sent it.
Congress, Jaishankar is failed foreign minister. Politics over China policy explodes. Our top focus on 5 Live.
You're with the news here on India Today with me, Shiv Arur. We have a special broadcast coming up on one of the biggest flashpoints that has taken over the country's political landscape at this time. And it pertains to an interview that was given by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Well, the words he used have triggered a big fight in the political battle space, with the Congress accusing him of being a failed External Affairs Minister because of what's happening in China. We're going to debate that here on 5 Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. The headlines at 5. Big setback for Uddhav Thackeray. Supreme Court refuses to put Election Commission order on Sena name and symbol on hold. The Uddhav Sena is now fully on the back foot.
Wins Delhi Mayor Dangal after days of and weeks of showdown in the Delhi Assembly. AAP gets the mayor and deputy mayor post. Trouble mounts for Delhi Deputy Chief Minister. Centre gives nod to prosecute Sisodia in Delhi snookgate case. Sisodia calls it a fake case. Mallikarjun Kharge declares Congress-led alliance will come to power in 2024. But can the opposition unite against Modi? And BJP workers who protested against the killing of an army man by a DMK neta now booked. Tamil Nadu BJP chief questions law and order under Stalin. So the Ladakh standoff remains the biggest political flashpoint between the Congress and Foreign Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Just a day after the latter taunted Rahul Gandhi over troops along the LAC, the Congress has now called Jaishankar a failed foreign minister and claimed that despite being the longest-serving diplomat in China, he's failed on every front. Here's a look at the war of words first. Shiv Sena joins you on the other side with more.
If we were being accommodative, who sent the Indian army to the LAC? Rahul Gandhi didn't send them. Narendra Modi sent them. The largest peacetime deployment in our history on the China border. And please notice, I said China, C-H-I-N-A.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar launches a stinking attack on the Congress.
I try not to be loud. I try to get my narrative across in an elegant and effective way, maybe at times sharper than people may want.
A day later, the Congress fires back, calling Jaishankar a failed foreign minister and tears into the Narendra Modi government's China policy.
निजी झगड़ा नहीं है, मैं आपके ऊपर कोई निजी आक्षेप नहीं लगा रही हूं, लेकिन हाँ, मैं ये जरूर कहती हूं कि आप इस देश के सबसे फेल्ड फॉरेन मिनिस्टर हैं.
The Grand Old Party on Wednesday gave a long list of what it called were failures of the diplomat turned politician.
इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को अपना आधा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पूरा हो चुका है. इंडिया में यूएस का एम्बेसडर नहीं है. श्रीलंका में चीनी इंटरफेरेंस है. भूटान हमसे दूर हो गया है. बांग्लादेश ने चीन को कॉक्स बाजार में सबमरीन बेस बनाने को कह दिया है. बांग्लादेश आज हमसे इकोनॉमिक पैरामीटर्स में बेटर कर रहा है, चाहे वो पर कैपिटा इनकम हो या जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट हो.
The blistering face-off comes in the backdrop of Rahul Gandhi questioning Jaishankar's understanding of geopolitics.
उसको समझना चाहिए. उनकी बयानबाजी आती रहती है. मैं देखता हूँ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर बोलते रहते हैं. कहना नहीं चाहिए, मगर शायद उनको थोड़ी अपनी समझ गहरी करनी चाहिए.
I'm not suggesting I'm necessarily the most knowledgeable person, but I would have a fairly good self-opinion of my understanding of what is out there.
Okay.
But, if he has superior knowledge, wisdom, as I said, for me, life is a learning process.
This isn't the first time the minister is hitting out at the opposition over foreign policy.
Not just as
Rahul Gandhi, also, I don't know whether you consider a serious remark or non-serious remark, talked of the fact that India is hiding the Chinese.
You're trying to make my Monday morning?
This question and then we'll move on. That India is hiding the fact that China has been, has taken territory in the LAC and, wants us not to, to take on China. What is your view on this?
Today,
yeah.
You have yourself a fairly deep knowledge of the security situation. Today, you have a deployment of the Indian Army on the China border that we've never had. It's done in order to counter Chinese deployments which were scaled up massively since 2020. Now, if we were in denial, how is the army out there? Because the army didn't go there because Rahul Gandhi asked them to go. I mean, the army went there because the Prime Minister of India ordered them to go.
The charges and counter-charges on Chinese aggression, however, have not cleared the air on the extent of encroachment by the neighbour on border areas. Bureau Report, India Today.
Want to go straight across to India Today's Gaurav Sawant, who's been tracking this developing, unfolding political battle very, very closely. Gaurav, in a democracy, questions are always required. They're mandatory, to the ruling government on all issues, including national security. But the manner in which the Congress party has been berating the government on the China issue, taking a very personal tone by calling External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar a failed External Affairs Minister, is to me something that hands the advantage directly to the Chinese, because it gives the impression that India is completely, divided and squabbling and handing the advantage to the Chinese. What are you making of this?
Shiv, you've hit the nail on its head on a very critical national security issue. You're absolutely right. India is a democracy. The opposition well within its rights to put the government on the mat on even crucial national security issues. But what's the ground situation? The External Affairs Minister in that interview made a couple of points very clear. He said when the allegation is made that the government is being accommodative or that the government is on the defensive, on the contrary, there's the largest ever peacetime deployment at the line of actual control. Largest ever. And that's significant. Shiv, you and I both covered defense. You and I have both covered the situation on ground zero. And we've never had close to 50 to 60,000 troops deployed in eastern Ladakh, all the way from Daulat Beg Oldi to Demchok. Also in the eastern sector, the middle sector, infrastructure is being built up. And Shiv, that's again a point that's been made by the External Affairs Minister, where he says that infrastructure development that should have happened 25 years ago was actually happening only now, and that infrastructure push 5 times the kind of money that was spent in the past is being spent on building infrastructure. And then again, India Today is the only and the first channel to travel on the DSDBO road all the way from Durbuk, all along the Shok, all the way up to Daulat Beg Oldi to talk about permanent 70-ton bridges that are being made, the roads that are being built there. So infrastructure push is massive all along the LAC, something that the minister says should have happened 25 years ago.
Absolutely. And this is infrastructure that is coming up at this point of time. The two largest standing armies in the world are face to face along that eastern Ladakh frontier. So if anyone is, under the misapprehension that India has not acted against the Chinese, they are woefully wrong. And then this is just sadly only about politics. Everything else, of course, is part of the democratic conversation. Gaurav, thank you very much for being with us. I just wanted to play out for you some of the comments made by the External Affairs Minister in his interview to ANI that have similarly exploded and triggered this fresh flashpoint. Take a look at the highlights of what he said.
अगर आप पूछें कि उनमें आत्मविश्वास क्यों नहीं यार, वो ये लोगों को क्यों गुमराह करते, चीन के बारे में गलत खबर क्यों फैलाते, इसका मैं कैसे जवाब दूं? क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि मैं साफ कहूं तो वो भी राजनीतिक है कि वो कभी कभी जानबूझ के ऐसी खबर फैलाते हैं। उनको पता है कि वो सच नहीं। उनको पता है कि अगर कुछ जमीन की बात करते कि ये जमीन जो है 1962 में चाइना ने कब्जा किया था, वो अभी कभी आपको बताते नहीं। वो ऐसे आपको इंप्रेशन देंगे जैसे ये कल परसों हुआ। कभी कभी लोग कहते हैं कि अरे आपको आपकी सोच में कमी है। मेरे सोच में कभी कमी हो सकती है, पर अगर मेरे सोच में कमी है तो मुझे पता है कि कहाँ जाना है। मैं अपने मिलिट्री लीडरशिप, फौज या इंटेलिजेंस से बात करूंगा। मैं चीनी एम्बेसडर को बुला के मैं अपनी खबर के लिए मैं नहीं पूछता। तो मैं मानता हूं कि आप कहते हैं इसका कमी है आत्मविश्वास की कमी। हो सकता है कमी कुछ और भी।
And I want to bring in the politicians now on this conversation because that's what it has become. It's no longer, a conversation of national security. It's a scoring of brownie points. It's become ugly. It's become vicious. And in election season, these attacks have been amplified all the more. Joining me live, Aparajita Sarangi, she's member of parliament in the Lok Sabha, national spokesperson of the BJP. Manish Khanduri is national spokesperson of the Congress party. Welcome to you both. Thank you very much for your time here on 5 Live. Mr. Khanduri, coming to you first. The attack on External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, at a critical time, of course, all attacks are welcome. That's part of the democratic conversation. But to call him a failed External Affairs Minister at a time, when the two armies are standing face to face in Ladakh, why would you say that? Why choose this time to say something like that and seem to give China the narrative that somehow India has failed to, push China back?
Well, thank you for the opportunity for giving me the opportunity to speak, Mr. Tharoor. I apologize. I think the main question here is, first of all, I would question placing timing in anything, or I would strongly deplore the fact that this is being taken as weakening India's position vis-a-vis China or strengthening China's position in any way. The minister basically had an interview in which he made certain statements which were deplorable. I think words have meaning everywhere, and everything that he speaks has meaning. So at a time like that, I could very well question, why would you call China a bigger economy and India a bigger economy? We know that may be a fact. But in the context of what he said, the context in which he said it, I think is highly deplorable. And to show that immediately has an effect on the morale of the troops. I think that is the case. That's number one. Secondly, I would like to say that Mr. Subramaniam, his father, has been a personal hero of mine for a very long time, and I appreciate the defense-minded thinking that he brought to the table. But I want to say this, that every government at every time has a certain set of measured responses to a situation. Now, there was something about infrastructure and the number of troops that are the highest in India's history. That's a response to a situation currently. How did that situation be allowed to develop? That would be the first question. Second of all, it's not as if the Congress, for all its faults, and there are many faults, has not been proactive or aggressive as in raising of mountain divisions, as in building infrastructure. And 62 was a disaster. It was presided over in the Congress. I'm the first person to say that. But we had 71. So I think if you contextualize everything, I think we are well within our rights to question the minister.
No, there's no question. There's no question of being well within your rights to question them. Absolutely. I don't think anyone is questioning them, not even the BJP. But I just wanted to say that there is a context to what is being said. And one would have possibly hoped from an apolitical standpoint of a certain degree of continuity as far as China is concerned, and not so much of the tutu meme that has kind of grabbed a lion's share of the conversation between the two big parties of this country. Aparajita Sarangi, it looks like the Congress, has engaged on this interview. Many substantive things have been said, but I'm looking at it as the Congress also being triggered because the External Affairs Minister particularly, singled out Rahul Gandhi for an attack, saying that, his words on the LAC, if he has something better to say, then I'm willing to listen. He said that obviously in a sarcastic way. And that appears to have triggered this kind of response from the Congress party.
A very good evening. Pursuant to the remarks made by our External Affairs Minister, Shri Jaishankar ji, yesterday, all the Congress people have been giving their viewpoints. Gabby, dyslexic and arrogant. I think these are the words that characterize the responses of all these Congress people. It's very unfortunate that they are not listening, or rather not trusting the words of the External Affairs Minister. Now here is an External Affairs Minister who has spoken to us with facts and figures. He gives dates and years. Now, as far as our relationship with China is concerned, I can only say 3 Ds. Dialogue, diplomacy and development. See, let's not get into war of words. I can only tell the Congress people, request them rather, to listen to the words of External Affairs Minister and trust his words. Now, when we talk of dialogue and diplomacy, let me tell you, we are very firm in our approach towards China. We know what we are doing and we walk the talk. Now, as far as our strategy is concerned, I'm sure there is a word called development. We are focusing on the development of the border areas. I'm reminded of the time when Mr. A.K. Antony was the defense minister. And you know, I mean, you flip through the pages of the proceedings of the parliament. In the parliament, Mr. Antony has said, best defense is not to develop the border. That was the mindset of the Congress people when they were in power. Now here is a government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi who is focusing on the development of these areas, and I have facts and figures. तथ्य और तर्क के साथ बात करने के लिए बैठी हूँ. 2100 kilometers of roads have been constructed in the border areas along China with an expenditure of about 15,477 crore. I think this has to be remembered. And I tell you, on 9th December 2022, we may recall, there was a scuffle between the Chinese and the Indian soldiers. And you know why was this scuffle? The scuffle was because we had been constructing roads and bridges, and that actually do not go down well with the Chinese soldiers. Obviously it would not, and that is why they kind of resisted. Now there is a heavy deployment, as has been told by Mr. Jaishankar, you know, in the very high altitudes in eastern Ladakh. There was a time when only 10,000 soldiers could be put there. Now we actually increased our efficiency and we have put there 22,000 soldiers. We are also enhancing capacity further so that we have 35,000 soldiers there. So we are taking all steps and work is in progress.
I just wanted to come in to say that, at no point of time is there a public perception that there hasn't been continuity as far as national security is concerned. Now the two political parties are pointing fingers at each other about who has done more as far as China is concerned. Frankly, as an apolitical journalist, someone who has covered national security and defense for 2 decades, I can tell you that there is much to be desired on all sides. Okay, the Congress, Mr. Kanduri, is by no means lily white when it comes to China. I'm not even going as far back as 1962. Even the Depsang episode, in the 2012-2013 period, what happened in Daulat Beg Oldie, those are all issues that can similarly be brought out. But I'm not going to bring those up because I feel that the public mood right now needs to be a certain degree of unity. Of course, questions can be asked, but when questions are asked in a manner that are bereft of facts, for example, Rahul Gandhi saying the Chinese came in and thrashed our soldiers when he was referring to Tawang, when he refers to something else saying that they are running all over us, which is patently not the case, and I happen to know the facts about it, then there is a sense that this is not about a democratic questioning process, which is very welcome, but about scoring personal brownie points against the Prime Minister. And that's the reason for this political distrust between both of you when there should be absolute alignment on an enemy like China. Mr. Kanduri.
First of all, I would, you've spoken about Daulat Beg Oldie, and I've said in the beginning that there is nothing, this is a continuous process. Both parties have been dealt with it. For a Daulat Beg Oldie, there was a Natula as well. But let me focus on the exact questions that you raised. Now listen, I am of the firm opinion that if everything was right, first of all those numbers that the Honorable MP gave about the roads being built, about the deployment, I think this is in context of the situation as it is. I mean, 10,000 people may be enough, 1 million may not be enough. The point is that there has been a complete absence of sharing of information, from the side of the government for the last 2-3 years. The Chief of Army Staff has called for a return to the status quo ante of 2 years ago, and these are facts. The third point is that we don't know what's happening out there because the government has consistently and completely refused to share on-ground situation. We do know that there are photographs in the social media, and I don't want to comment on those. But the fact of the matter is that the stance taken by the government of India at this particular point in time with respect to the Chinese aggression, the persistent Chinese aggression, He's been regrettable. And the minister highlighting that we are a smaller economy at this point in time, again, words have meaning. Had he said it in a private context, I probably would not have disagreed with him even. I'll say that up front. But for a man of his stature, for a man of his position to say that at this point in time is very regrettable. One, I would disagree with you, Mr. Arur, that we are talking about this being at a sensitive time. A democratic process is what it is, and it has to be followed. A democratic process, if there is a perception that we are weakening India's position at this point in time, there is no perfect moment in time. If we've chosen at the particular point in time to highlight what we think are perceptible weaknesses of the BJP, then we've taken a stance, and we'll continue to do that because we believe passionately in what we're talking about. We believe that there are failures on multiple fronts, and I fail to see. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying. Your point is taken. Let's try and get that from Aparajita Sarangi. Ms. Sarangi, the allegation, when I talk about political distrust between the two sides, fomenting this season of attacks that are of a personal nature, the Congress says it's because your government and your party does not share information. Is that, has it become a vicious cycle because you don't trust, because of the personal attacks? Therefore, the parliamentary protocol of sharing information with the opposition has completely stopped, and that's the reason why these attacks keep continuing to happen? Or is that not true?
Do you think the matters pertaining to Indo-China relationship should be discussed on the floor of the House? Should we make the internal matters of our country, the security matters, public? Is this the kind of attitude
I think what they meant was taking you into confidence, taking the Congress into confidence.
No, I think they should act more mature. And I tell you one thing, please listen to me. Yes. Rahul Gandhiji happens to be the member of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defence. Now, I am also a member of a Parliamentary Standing Committee. All issues which do not go out to public are discussed here. Now, in the past 1 year, please ask Rahul Gandhi how many times he has attended the meeting of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defence. If he goes there, he will know what is what, and he would get all the answers to all his questions. So, it is very easy to put the blame on Prime Minister Modi and his team. It's very important to actually get into things, be meticulous, be diligent, and try to cooperate with the government in matters of security. This is not a very simple thing. In fact, we always expected that the opposition parties, including the Congress, would come and join hands with the ruling party in these matters at least. There should be certain matters that should be above politics. Now here, Rajiv Gandhi Foundation got some money from the Chinese embassy to carry out a research on the Indo-China relation. I think all of us are aware of that. Now, what was the outcome of that research? What were the findings? I think the entire country would like to know. And I tell you, I'm having some details about a letter which had been written by Sri Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the then Home Minister, to Prime Minister Nehru on 7th November 1950. He had written to Nehruji, it's good to have soft corner for China. These are the words. It's good to have soft corner for China. It's good to have friendly relationship with China, but we should be aware of the fact that they are at our doorstep, and this is very dangerous. So, keeping in view the fact that China has been aggressive towards India all through, what was the reason Prime Minister Nehru had to go all the way and lobby for the seat of China in the as a permanent member of the UN Security Council? So I think when we live in glass houses, we should not throw stones at others. Prime Minister Modi's government is putting in its best efforts to ensure that we are all safe, and we have a very positive, rather I would say very mature stand towards China. Yes. I want to bring this debate to a close with that specific allegation that the Congress threw, that information is not shared, because that's an important part of any democracy. Manish, I'm sure you would agree that
what Aparajita Saragi says is something that we should all agree with, that some things can't be discussed in the open parliament, but they are discussed pretty threadbare in parliamentary standing committee meetings. As a defense correspondent, I've seen some of these reports. Many of the minutes of the meetings are redacted because they're of a classified nature. I was looking at some of the research. Rahul Gandhi skipped the first all 11 meetings of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defence that he was a member of between 2019 and 2020. I don't know what that attendance data is thereafter, but the sense is that he continues to throw allegations on the issue of national security while being continuously an unserious politician, not making use of forums where he can easily get such information and put questions to the powers that be.
I can respond to that in a multiple number of ways. I mean, I think the Honourable Member of Parliament spoke of Defence Committee. There was a Defence Committee where a chairman of a Defence Committee made a report, Parliamentary Defence Committee, and he was fired from that Defence Committee. He was a BJP Member of Parliament. The first in the history of India to be fired because parts of that Defence Committee report said that India had very low stocks of ammunition. So let's not get into the question of what happens in the Defence Committee. The question is broader. The question is much broader here. And that question deals with I think if you all go back in the history, after 60 we lost. It was a blunder. I mean, there's no two questions about it. But what was Prime Minister Nehru's response after that when this was supposed to be discussed in Parliament? I think we all know that history as well. So the point that one makes is that, patriotism, they say, is the last refuge of the you-know-what, right? I mean, for us, the process of patriotism is to be able to question facts, to be able to question the opposing point of view. And if that is